But we are going to move on now to match number 4 of 5 of the day. It is going to be Flurry versus Shaxy. And we'll see if this one is going to pick up pace or not, because both players do have Warrior accessible to them, so there is a chance. Although Flurry, another player who's very, very interesting because, guys,
thank you.
You're the best.
You absolute champions.
Double Warrior band. Go away, Warrior. But yeah, it's just interesting that Flurry's lineup is one of the more interesting ones because he has Hunter Warlock instead of, say, Druid Priest. So the only player, I believe, again this week, there's no Priest, right?
I think so, yeah. At least in Asia Pacific.
Excuse me, I'm joking. Which means that I'm just so surprised.
You're allergic to not Priest.
Yeah, I'm like, whoa, this is crazy talk. But it does mean that you've got to just think about what mindset is in to actually not bring Priest. Do you think he thinks it's just so obvious that he gains an edge by not doing it? I don't know.
I think it's one of 3 things. It's either 1, he doesn't think the deck is that good, arguable.
Okay.
Maybe he has different practice partners. 2, he thinks everyone's going to target it, so he doesn't want to bring the deck. I would disagree with that as well, I think, because I think Priest is a very difficult deck to target for the first part. Second of all, we're playing best of 3 when you have 3 decks remaining. If they do somehow manage to have
hard
target on Priest, just don't play it. You don't have to. Thanks, production clearly really likes what I was saying. Or the last thing he's saying is, I guess, he doesn't think that he thinks people will bring things that are deliberately not weak to Priest.
Right.
But I guess that's kind of the same thing as countering Priest anyway. And even then, just don't play it.
Yeah, there's a crazy number 4 where it's just just doesn't want to or like playing Priest,
Fair.
which again is just reasonable. If you don't really want to play a deck, you don't enjoy playing a deck. Although you can argue that you should always take the best stuff. If you don't really like it, then
fair enough.
Flurry's good enough to make it work. So we'll see how it happens with Shaxy bringing a generally more standard lineup overall. Quest Shaman, Quest Druid, the Control Warrior, and the Priest. Looks like he's just bringing the decks of the current meta and arguably the solved decks, so to speak.
And honestly, I am left a little bit confused as to what Flurry's game plan is. By shielding the Warlock, it feels to me like he's going for a target Druid plan is the best thing I can get across, because honestly, I feel like the only good matchup for Zoo is Druid. Quest Shaman, I don't like the matchup. Warrior, I don't like the matchup. Priest, I'd call it close, but I still favor Priest in the matchup, to be honest.
Okay.
I think so.
I thought if you had to give a percent either way, it would probably go to Warlock.
Okay.
I might be wrong in that, but I feel like if Priest doesn't go exactly into big minion early game, well, Warlock stuff just trades, and then there's a problem, right? Because even Pyro,
Maybe,
a lot of the time with the Warlock decks as they are now, Pyro has to be like 3 spells plus some trades to clear a board, which is actually super difficult. So that I feel like that matchup is very tailored on the early game, of course, which Priest can win. I've heard Priest is pretty good at some early game, but yeah, I don't know. It's just maybe just a different thought on how the decks work.
Maybe. Whereas Shaxy on the other side, by shielding his Shaman, I feel like is going for a plan of hoping to target the Zoo even, because Flurry, his Zoo is weak to the Shaman. It is weak to the Warrior, which was banned out, to be fair, and is questionable versus the Priest. But then also the Hunter. I really wouldn't mind that as the Quest Shaman. So for Shaxy, even though I think, again, I probably would have gone for the shield on Priest, his Shaman here looks like it's in a pretty good spot.
It really does. Nice opener, though, for Flurry, or at least instead of nice, maybe just not bad.
It's alright.
I think Rat Trap's just a really nice secret to just have active versus Shaman.
Agreed.
It will now just make Shaxy play around it long enough to realize it is Rat Trap, and then always have to consider Rat Trap when he's thinking about playing multiple cards, which Shaman does a lot of in any given turn.
There's little time.
So I'm faffing about that before the quest comes down for Shaxy. I think, I'm not really sure what he would be trying to contest by going Coin Sludge Slurper on 1. That's better than just going for questing on 2. Wow, but he does in the end decide he wants to get the Sludge Slurper. What's his thinking? Why does he want to tempo this out?
There's a Hyena. Hyena into Desert Spear would be a very, very big problem. He does have Earthshock, but still, it still leaves a Hyena alive a lot of the time. And I think for the game, what he loses by not being able to play the Explorer isn't that bad.
Fair enough.
And I guess you can test for secrets quicker.
Yeah, I guess it's just more attack on board right away.
More stuff to do more often.
And you can tell by the fact of how long it took Shaxy to make that turn when he's generally a relatively quick player. He is left confused. He was not sure exactly how to play that, I think, and just went with his best guess.
I really like the Lackey here.
Plays around the spear.
Snipe.
Yeah.
To my side.
Arguably the worst one there.
Yeah, I think so.
Leok, he can't kill anything off. Doesn't contest anything. Doesn't stop him killing. You know, it still doesn't stop Shaxy doing anything he wants. The most important thing really about this turn was that it's extreme. If it was ever likely that Shaxy could proc Flurry's secret, then I think he would have played Snake Trap.
Agreed.
So he could guarantee this alpha. It is extremely unlikely, almost impossible, that Shaxy actually procs Rat Trap this turn, so he can get away with not playing the Snake Trap.
That's it, and I think for Flurry, even if Shaxy did somehow proc the secret, he would say, "Oh, cheers, I'll take my 6/6."
Good job, idiot. It's funny because Shaxy actually could proc the secret if he wanted to, which is quite rare, actually.
Oh, thanks, Windows Firewall Protection. Doing God's work.
There is little time.
Shaxy there just like, it's not that, it's not this, it's not that, it's not this. Okay. He's got probably a pretty good read that it's pressure play or Rat Trap at this point.
Yeah, I think he's got it down to those two. It is often those two that come together when you're playing specifically Quest Chunk, when there's few spells in the deck. And of course, I imagine for the most part, he's hoping it is pressure plate because Rat Trap could be pretty devastating for him in the next few turns.
He's getting to the point where he can easily proc it in a given turn.
Exactly. And he will want to play 3 cards in a turn. But at the same time, he can make strong plays that don't proc it at the same time. It's not necessary to his game plan quite yet. So on this turn, the Lackey in hand is a 3/3, of course. So buff it up and value trade the Hyena. Do we hate that? Or do you trade away evenly the Hyena and then buff up the 2/3?
Yeah, I think you just have to get this Lackey down.
I agree. I really want to see the Lackey.
It's a 3/3, even regardless of its battle cry a lot of the time as well. It's like, it's a 1-mana 3/3, just play it.
Love the hesitance as well on the Sludge Slurper. It's obviously good on that turn, considering he's very likely spending 4 mana next turn. But Rat Trap's just too devastating.
Yeah, I do like the Deadly Shot here.
It's not that good against Shaman most of the time.
And just use your mana.
That's it.
Next turn there's High Main, then the Secret follow-up. So Flurry really is kind of just, I guess, planning on this High Main getting work done, or the draws off the top being good.
Yeah.
The drawback of having drawn 3 secrets so early in the game means he has nothing else, and Snipe, Snake Trap don't do, or haven't been able to do tons so far in the game. And obviously Rat Trap has had not no impact, because it has impact as soon as it's played, but very little right now, which means that unless his next couple of draws are fairly strong, this High Main has to do some work.
Yeah, I agree completely. Flurry doesn't need much off the top to pull him into the lead, but he definitely needs
And he's probably
something.
got, what, literally a turn or two to draw something good after High Main?
And he's got a lot of good draws as well. We're talking about Unleash the Beast, Bran, Zephyrus,
even Subject 9.
Siamat, Subject 9, even the Draw an Elemental, that's fine as well.
Desert Spear.
Yeah, I'd take that too. Most draws are good here for Flurry, thankfully. Or good enough. Just wants to avoid secrets, Secret Keeper, low value cards like that. Earthshaker.
No surprise to see the High Main. 6 sure being picked up again. Not bad, even if it's just classed as a 4-mana 3/6.
Yep.
That's just a decent minion to play out against Shaman, kind of hard for them to deal with. Whereas Shaxy on this side now is looking down the barrel of a former champ and a mutate next turn, which is actually going to be maybe nigh on impossible for Flurry to deal with. Like hero power, former champ, mutate. Hunter does not answer those things without already being quite far ahead.
This was horrible from Shaxy, right? Why wouldn't he just go for the full clear instead of tanking 8? Now he has to proc the rat trap if he wants to clear. Like on this turn, he could have just gone hero power.
I don't know what happened that turn.
Well, he played the Sludge Slurper instead of just not playing the Sludge Slurper, which, okay, the benefit is he's played a Sludge Slurper, he has lackeys and he has stuff to play, but he's tanking 6. I'm pretty sure this was just wrong.
And the problem now is he can't hero power go for the big turn anyway, which is fine if you don't, if you feel the need to clear the board instead, but doing it halfway between.
It was horrible.
It would have been better to actually leave the high main up, and do the bit and have former champ hero power to make the 2 5/5s and mutate.
Or miss out if you've already played the Sludge Slurp or whatever, you made that play. Miss out the Earth Shock and just leave them with 2 2/2s instead of expending your Earth Shock and giving them a rat trap. It would be less attack on board.
Yeah.
Like damage to face is how Shaxy loses this game.
And the weird part as well. Was he just sure it was pressure plate?
No, he did not. He hadn't tested.
No, I mean, like, in his mind, did he just lock pressure plate in?
Honestly, I think it was just a brain fart. Like, I think he just forgot that he needed to play 2 extra cards in the turn. I can't think why else you'd do that. Unless he thinks it's worth it to play a Sludge Slurper to have a 6/6 on the opponent's side of the board. And I disagree with that completely.
If only Flurry ran a Murloc.
You probably take a 3-drop here. Yeah. You don't take that 3-drop, you take a different 3-drop. I probably would have upgraded again there, to be honest.
Oh, really? I would.
It's nothing. It's a 1/1 to a 6-drop, or a later, or a nothing to a 4-drop right now.
But next turn's huge.
Fair enough. I think I would have played it, and then I may have regretted it.
When I look back on a lot of my life decisions, that is the answer. Yep, I think if I was there again, I would have done it, and then regretted it afterwards.
I will not learn, I will just feel bad.
Too real there.
Oh no, wait, what am I talking about? 4/4 Life Drinker. 4/4 Weaponized Wasp. Real galaxy brain plays here from Shaxy.
Shaxy's still in here.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he very much is so.
I mean, 100% hero power former champs.
Really?
Yeah. Is your opponent going
I'm looking at Evil Totem Hall of Toads, like Reign of Toads, sorry. Hall of Toads. Reign of Toads, because I think the way that Shaxy's losing this game is damage to the dome.
How does he deal 6? How does Flurry deal 6 next turn?
It's not next turn, it's just like...
And then you hero power Life Drinker afterwards, after you've got a board of massive dudes.
Like, I don't know, Bran off the top, or like Zephrys, like...
Just won't happen, it's fine. I think he needs to build a base on the board first, but the problem is if he overloads, then he dramatically reduces stuff that's going to happen the turn after as well. I think it's too slow.
Wow, alternate line completely.
Yeah, this is the one I definitely don't like. He heals for 6, but then just takes it back.
Yeah.
Well, more so back.
I've got to be honest,
God.
I really wanted to see Reign of Toads on this turn. I think, like, I see your point that maybe you have to make the judgment that I'm so far behind that I have to just hope they don't have lethal so that I can build up a dominating board presence and then taunt
and then you
afterwards.
can recover. Taunt or heal depending on X.
Exactly, which I think is a very valid school of thought. And honestly, maybe that's just correct. My thought on it is that he has enough like value and enough healing to just put up a taunt wall so that you don't die on that turn. And then you just win the game. I think it locks out the ways that you lose.
Okay, interesting.
Because you still have former champ hero power next turn. Oh no, no, sorry, you don't.
No, it's a turn later. Which is what the overload is what pushes me over the edge, right?
You have hero power lackey wasp 100% on the following turn because you're at 6 mana.
So you'd still play totem?
Yes.
Turn, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I mean, for me,
I think this is the play I like least.
I agree. It's not the taunt plan that's the problem, or the secure plan. It's the being that overloaded, which means you can't do anything that great the turn after either.
Absolutely.
It feels a little bit bad, but yeah, I feel like this just gets kind of Shaxy in the same position.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of this.
Because now it's exactly the same question, except he doesn't have Life Drinker. So he ends up doing a similar to play with what you suggested anyway. Okay.
He could still go for the zap into mind control tech, which gets him 2 of these minions stolen.
He cannot now. Snipe.
Oh yeah, of course. Sorry, it kills the lackey. Yes, you're correct.
But of course, Shaxy did not know that until he played it.
What does the text on that card say? Is it whenever you discover a spell or discover a card, it reduces its cost? Yeah, by 1.
It's actually not a bad
card.
That's
a pretty nuts card. It costs 2, right?
Yes, I've been seeing it played in the, I'll say, aggro / spell mage.
Yeah.
Because you have so many cards that discover cards.
That's true, actually.
You can just play more as well.
Wow, that card is...
It's not bad. It's not bad.
Like, for it to have seen no play at all and have such a strong stat line and a good bonus, it's kind of surprising. It's probably one of those cards that would be like the 35th card you put in a lot of decks.
The problem is, it's the consistency of, for this card to be good, you need a 2/3, which isn't exactly the most survivable minion on board.
Yeah.
And something else, right?
Yeah, I guess like lackeys, you only have 1 discover option in ethereal. Yeah, I guess there's not too many discover cards in a lot of classes.
It's mainly like mage.
Yeah, magic tricks and nuts.
Right, exactly, yeah.
Or the curve with Volpira Scoundrels.
Messenger Raven.
That's pretty good. Wow, Flurry not happy with this Zul'jin, it would seem. And fair enough, it does not do much at all as it currently stands. And of course, Shaxy was thinking with his game plan here of going for the not taunting on this turn. Please, please, please don't have damage to face. That's how I lose. He's rewarded.
Yep.
He is in a very dominating position now. Hero Power MCT.
Yeah, I don't see.
It fills up your board space a lot, of course. No. But
do you actually Bog Slosh first then?
The champ?
Mm-hmm.
Does he know what the secret is as well? Does he know it's not explosive trap?
Yep.
Okay.
Does now. But you know what I mean? Like you just Bog Slosh the 1/1. You've got the mana. Again, you don't need taunt if you just steal half his minions. Yeah, this is just good. This gives him a way to end the game. Guaranteed.
To the bottom now. There is little time. Roar like a butterfly.
Okay.
Sting like a bee.
Fair enough.
Sting like a bee.
Yeah, just go for lethal next turn.
Just don't, don't care about 1/1s. Yeah, I like this.
There's no way that lethal
why steal 1/1s when you can just have 5/5s?
Zephrys into Bloodlust actually was not. No, sorry. Zephrys into Bloodlust was exact lethal, right? Does that mean this turn's a mistake? Is he that far ahead that he can afford to play around that? Arguably.
Probably.
Arguably.
Yep. Well, my question is, if he traded one, could he have traded 1 minion? He could, right? Oh no, he traded as much as he could.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, then you do it right.
I'm just wondering if it was ever Rain of Toads instead, but I guess that doesn't set up 2 turn lethal.
I think if he could have and didn't trade 1 extra minion, it was a mistake.
Yeah.
The fact that he traded everything he could, fine. I'm with it. It's what I would have made a similar play. It's what I've kind of been pushing for, right?
Yeah.
Because Hunter cannot answer boards like this.
Very, very underwhelming Zul'jin, of course, but the only play that you can score. So it is, of course, a different play. And now I think, given that he knows it's Snakes, Rat, and Snipe, everything face plus Rain of Toads wins the game, right? I think
so.
Apart from Zephrys.
Just the right way.
Just play the quest in to eat the snipe.
I'm happy with that.
Just get it out of the way, because you don't want to draw a better minion, right? And then have that snipe.
Bit of a mistake to not press the hero power first, of course, on this turn. I'll let it go.
And up the top is a Desert Spear. Very good card, but not good enough. And Shaxy is going to take game 1. Shaman over the hunt.
Very nice win there for Shaxy. Between two players that had very, very good runs in the Season 1 of Hearthstone Grandmasters. But it does feel like, especially given the way the context of this series is going, Shaxy is in prime position to end up in a much better spot because he, I think, has pretty much given up hope of getting first seed, given that Shansu is there right up at the top. But very, very good shot getting second or third, which is, of course, better than fourth place because you don't take an automatic loss going into the playoffs.
Exactly.
So I think Shaxy, if he can take this series second or third, he should be very disappointed if he doesn't get that.
Yeah, and I think overall, just from his play, it's pretty fair to say that it would be deserving and likely for him to do well next week as well. But we are going to step away just for a minute while we set up the next game. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with some more Flurry versus Shaxy.
What's up, Hearthstone fans? Welcome back to another episode of The Curve, where we draw the biggest headlines from this past weekend on Curve. I'm your host, Simon Sottle-Welch. Let's do this. After the format change to the second season of Grandmasters, the playoffs now allow for the top 4 players from each division to advance to the final stage of the season. With this additional spot available, players can clinch spots earlier in the season. Shansu in the Asia-Pacific region is 9-1 in Division A. His continued stellar play locked him in as the first player to clinch playoffs in all of the regions. In Division B, we'll have to wait another week to see the playoff picture settle down, as all of the players are very close in the standings. Reigning world champion Hunter Ace was the second player to qualify for playoffs this weekend, as he won both of his matches. Again. The champ is truly firing on all cylinders and is looking like the favourite to claim the last European spot going to BlizzCon later this year. In the division over, Psycho, who led the last season in match score, continues to struggle. He's dropped his last 8 matches in a row and is currently sitting in last place. In the Americas region, none of the players have officially qualified for playoffs just yet. Just Saiyan was close this weekend, but lost to Amnesiac on Sunday night. In both divisions, the competition is getting stronger. Amnesiac in particular, who started the season 1 and 4, has won his last 5 matches and was even able to beat the #1 player in his division. The region as a whole is going to have some very decisive results this coming weekend, and every game matters because of tiebreakers, so be ready for some intense matches. With the season closing, there is also the flip side of the tournament, where the last place players will be getting relegated from Grandmasters. Every player is fighting for their tournament lives, so keep an eye out for ETC, Race, Psycho, Viper, Blood Trail, and Patra, as many of them are in must-win situations to keep themselves from getting relegated. In this week's meta moment, we want to highlight Highlander decks. The current Highlander decks that were brought this weekend are Warrior, Mage, and Hunter. The key component of these decks is that they only have one of any individual card. Key cards in these decks usually consist of things like Zephyrus the Great, Tiamat, and class-specific cards such as this expansion's versions of Elise, Reno, or Bran. Each deck is powerful in their own ways, and if you haven't tried them, take a look at Firebat's VODs and deck lists from this past week to see 2 different Highlander decks in action. If you missed any of the Grandmasters action, you can check out the VODs on our YouTube page, youtube.com/Hearthstone Esports. Grandmasters resumes this weekend. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. That's it for us. We'll see you in the tavern.
We are back and continuing with the series between Flurry and Shaxy. Shaxy currently leading 1-0 with that Shaman win, just taking it over Flurry's Hunter. Just putting too much stuff more consistently on the board. There were a couple of plays that looked a little bit, I don't know, questionable, I'll say. But overall, the game plan I did like with just saying, if I put enough stuff on the board every turn, Hunter does not deal with, you know, multiples of minions very well, especially when they're 5/5s.
Yeah, I think the early game was very strong from Shaxy. It was really just the later game where it was shoring up the way he loses, which felt very rough. Like activating the Rat Trap, not playing taunts on a turn where he could have died, even leaving himself dead to Zephyrus on the final turn was something you could argue was incorrect, even though I think that's a bit more questionable. But it's just the case against Quest Shaman. If you're going even against them, that's not good enough, because eventually they always outvalue you. It's what the deck does.
Yep, well, let's get into another game here between Flurry and Shaxy. It's going to be the Zoo on the top, piloted by Mr. Flurry, and the Druid, which is just Quest Druid from Shaxy.
What do you keep as the Zoo here?
Macaroon, Deficit Thresher. Yeah. And I think there was. I wouldn't keep Sinister Deal.
Me neither. I was wondering if you throw away everything other than Thrasher, because Thrasher, I love in this matchup. I think that's undeniably one of the cards you're looking for most of all in the mulligan. But one attack, one drops? Do I care that much? I'd rather go like coin Thrasher into Thrasher or find a Flame Imp or...
You could argue that they deal 4 damage almost guaranteed every single time.
That's fair.
It's better than floating mana. There are cards like Grim Rally, higher cost than 1. You know what I mean? Like, you could argue that it's just, if it was 1 mana deal 4, would you keep it? And you'd be like, maybe.
Maybe. I just really like Flame.
Behold, jewels of the sun.
I think this is fine. I like that he didn't keep both the 1-drops, of course. And the main thing is I love the keep of Thrasher, because that is the card outside of Flame Imp, I think, against Druid.
Is this going to be triple 1-drop, do you think?
I would not hate that at all.
Just Grim Rally the Roo.
Yeah. Or Egg Grim Rally as well, I think is fine.
I guess Flame Imp does have value with Vulture, so maybe this is actually just better, which I can get behind 100%.
Oh. This is one hell of a ball for turn 3.
Even the respect there for forsaking 5 damage to the face to kill a Crystal Merchant to stop card draws getting out of control, which is interesting because you could argue that maybe Flurry should think that he should just kill him and who cares about a 1/4? It's not a problem, but Flurry definitely showing some respect there.
Do you think you'd have done the same thing?
I think I would have gone face. I would have been like, enjoy your card draw, Mr. Druid. I have Damahe.
I think in that instance I would have traded because there's so many times where it's gone wrong for me leaving it up, but I am not even certain that's correct because 5 damage face is
a lot.
Big.
Annoying bees, you may as well be wasps. Regarding the rules of taunt.
As wasps are so famed for.
Yeah. Yeah, wasps don't care what you're doing. We've discussed this. They wait. Ignore the rules. Glory. Why are you inside my house? You're not paying rent.
Well, is there anything other than Merchant Wrath on this team?
There is. I don't know if you like it.
Innovate Nourish?
Yeah.
I don't like it, you're right.
But then you have like buffed Wrath into buffed Wrath into a lot of mana.
I'd rather go like Crystal Merchant pass and then double buffed Wrath next turn. No, I don't like that either. I think I just want to see Merchant Wrath on this turn, and then you go Nourish next turn and hope to draw defense.
Okay. Jewels of the sun.
Starfall's a great card to pick up as well, of course, with the quest completed.
It is. Now Flurry, though, is going to be able to go very wide.
Oh. Yeah, this turn is disgusting.
Close. Close. he even has now Sinister Deal into Evil Recruiter for refill next turn.
I like the sound of that. I guess you can just play it this turn, right? Preemptively. If he's going to play the Flame Imp, I guess. Doesn't have to play the Lackey.
Fine. What if I told you about coming at me with that logic? I'm so sick of it.
Sorry. Yeah, of course, he should float as much mana as this turn as possible.
Thank you. Yeah. Good casting part.
If you can mess up the maths of Starfall, that makes me want to play the Lackey a lot more.
I mean, you could do that very easily, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I called it!
Unless you just hit King Booklet.
Yeah, he did mess up the massive Starfall. He made way more 5,000 minions.
That's just game, right? There's no coming back from this. Like, Starfall kills off 2 minions. What a yoke.
Okay, fully being results orientated here. Would Wrath Starfall this turn actually do a good job?
As it should, he have gone to innovate.
He would have had the mana.
He would have taken 3 more damage, of course, but yeah. Maybe. Is his only out then to go Nourish and hit 2 Anubis defenders and a Phantom? Like, if that's a possibility, you take it, right?
I concede.
Nope. That's going to be it.
There we go.
Shaxy loses the game versus the Zoo, and honestly, again, we're just seeing Zoo have some of the best openings. And this is a question we have to ask ourselves, right?
Yeah.
Whatever you think of, say, Apex submissions over the course of Grandmasters, and whether Zoo is something that they should be leaning on as often as they are, if multiple players are submitting it, and I've seen a few people, get super high legend with it as well, and we've seen openings like that, are we not giving Zoo enough credit, is my question.
Maybe, but taking a closer look at the deck lists, I'm actually a bit confused as to why the win was even gained there. Because, first of all, that is the, in my opinion, only good matchup for Zoo left to Flurry there against the Druid. And if you look at the remainder of his decks, it is Zoo, Hunter, and Shaman. Would you rather play Druid or Priest up against those 3 as Shaxy? Like, Druid versus the Zoo is horrible. Druid versus the Hunter, I think you could argue, is not great. And then against the Shaman, it's kind of close. Priest versus Shaman, fantastic. Priest versus Zoo, close. Priest versus Hunter, kind of close. I just think at this point, Priest is the better of the 2 decks available to Shaxy. So I don't know why he's playing the Druid at all.
Interesting. I actually believe, and I might just be making this up, but I think I have heard more people say Zoo is good versus Priest than you have.
Fair enough.
And I'm not saying either of us is particularly right or wrong.
Yeah.
It's just I think I've read or heard a lot more players talk about that they've played a lot of Zoo, that it's good versus Priest.
I'll hear that.
Which means that maybe there's just differences in saying, well, actually Zoo is just overall stronger. And also I think Hunter versus Druid can get a bit wonky as well, because if Druid stabilizes, they go as fast as you do, but all their stuff is like twice as big a lot of the time, which is kind of tough.
So now that the Zoo is out the way, do you think we should see Druid or Priest from Shaxy?
I
would say Priest, 100%.
I think Priest, but we've just been told he's Q Druid, which is very interesting. I think at this point,
I would not even think about it.
With the Warlock out the way, I would go Priest. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, I think you can probably... I guess you're not saying Priest is better against Shaman and Hunter, because you can probably make the read that Flurry is playing one of the 2.
Right.
You can probably make a guess of which one he's playing. And at that point, you're saying which is better, Druid versus Hunter or Priest versus Hunter? I guess you could make the argument that Druid is better.
I think so, yeah. Like I said, I think the Druid versus Hunter matchup is actually pretty decent for the Druid. I think, yes, Hunter can always obviously just win, but if they just stabilize, there's not a lot that can really... There's not a lot of late game...
That's fair.
What's the word I'm looking for? Consistent late game power compared to Druid, which draws its deck. So, of course, it has consistent late game power. It plays every single card.
My retort would be Priest.
I'm not arguing about that. Yeah.
I like your arguments though. I think it's actually a really interesting thing because then you get into the argument with last game of if Flurry has come to the same conclusion as Shaxy that Druid is the better of the two decks, then he lines up the Zoo first of all, at which point you're saying maybe I should go Priest to go up against the Zoo if you think that's a better matchup, which I personally think Priest is better versus Zoo than Druid is.
Also, there's some arguable Priest tech in Flurry's hand. You can see one of them there.
Good point.
The Wing Blessed.
Yeah, that's actually a very good point. That single card can make a big difference. Even if that just gives you a % in the matchup, that can change things drastically.
I like ignoring this series.
Always push face. Because I guess the thing is for Flurry, if either of these two minions survives, with one being a beast, one being a mech, they both have advantages in terms of how you can buff them, weirdly enough.
You can almost imagine them as the exact same minion, so why would you protect one over the other? It doesn't make sense, right? It's like saying, I have two hyenas, I'm going to trade one hyena to protect the other one. Why?
No,
like, if one trade is going to happen, let it happen, you just do the other one.
Yeah.
Bees, though, getting the job done themselves. But now already, this is what I mean. Like, Flurry's got Shaxy to 24.
Yeah.
Shaxy's quest is done. Yeah, he doesn't have an amazing turn next turn unless his B survives. But that's what I'm saying. Like, and now the game starts, and Hunter starts with a 6 health advantage. But Druid has their OP hero power.
This is definitely fair. I mean, to an extent, I'm really going off like the perception that APAC players seem to have been putting forward of Highlander Hunter, which is it beats everything. Yeah. Which I guess I have been arguing against. So you do raise a fair point.
You quite like to see Mark of the Lower this turn.
Yeah. What secrets has he tested for? Though is the question.
None, because he just...
He's
snake.
Tested for pressure plate. He's tested for snakes, freezing. So I think Mark of the Low is fine.
Mark of the Low is kind of hard to play as well.
Yeah.
It's actually a tough card to play in Druid.
Maybe you deviate now with the Wrath, actually.
What's the follow-up,
You can just clear it off.
Like Wrath Merchant?
Wrath Merchant? It's not bad, honestly.
Is it better than the buff and 2/3/2s?
Maybe not. Does he know about explosive trap?
I mean, he could have hit face to test first.
Yes, and then if it dies, then just go Wrath.
Just Wrath, yeah. I mean, he didn't, so that could have been bad.
Houndmaster Zephyrus Silence.
Oh. Shaxy ever just take the ultimate read and just say, how the hell would he play an explosive trap into a 1/1?
Fair.
You know, it would be crazy, right? So maybe he's just so confident.
Well, it wasn't into a 1/1, right? It was a few turns earlier. Because he just played Subject 9 on.
Oh, sorry, it was the the turn before. Yeah. Ignore me. Now though, Anubis Defender, Wrath available too. Innovate, just I'm saying card names now.
I think he's still obviously afraid of Ratto Trappo.
So then you prioritize Wrath over the Anubis Zath, right? Anubis Zath
I think so.
dies, except this, you keep an Anubis Zath and draw a card, like, it adds up to me. And you can trade the 3/2 into the 4/3, so...
I think he actually knows exactly that it is Rat Trappo. Right? I'm trying to think what else he's testing. I think it's everything.
Yeah, because B's proc snakes, doesn't it?
Yeah, proc snakes, freezing. He's tested explosive face. Snipe's been tested for.
Misdirect.
Time waits for no one.
Doesn't run it.
What?
Oh, Shaxy's shown clear disregard for Rat Trap up until this point in this series. So it wouldn't be out of character to go along with it, but I agree this is the correct play. So it's okay, on this turn, it's relatively lackluster in terms of development if you don't play Zephyrus. Do you ever play it here, or do you save it for a more pressing matter?
I like double snip stamp more.
Okay.
You have the option of Ziliax Or even Snip Snap Secret Hero Power. Oh yeah, what about that?
All that leaves you open to the trade. So do you ever play Desert Spear instead? To just make the Houndmaster more difficult to deal with? Or at least demand an answer?
Could do, yeah. I guess Desert Spear. Chuck a secret down. I think I like Pressure Plate the most.
Sure, yeah.
Oh, I don't think I'd face tank it.
Or maybe Freezing Trap, because that's better against the Oasis Surge.
This just plays into Swipe.
Quickly.
I guess.
Yeah, I like Pressure Plate. You're really freezing. I just don't know how good freezing is at this point in the game.
I think it's really just to play around Oasis Surger for the most part. Or
It doesn't play around it that much, though.
It's the best thing you can do against it, though. It's your best defense. I think it.
How does he play around it next turn, though? Because it'll guarantee one comes down next turn if that's the case, right?
Well, I mean...
That's only my worry, right? Like,
yeah,
one still kills the Houndmaster.
I think it's terrible no matter what you do, because if you don't take any maneuvers against it, it just does all the damage this turn.
I think I just like Pressure Plate because it means that one, Shaxy has to identify it, and then if Shaxy has a board, then he has to really think about every single time he thinks about casting a spell.
That's fair. Yeah.
Obviously, High Main into this board feels kind of bad.
What does Zephyrus even offer here? 2 5/5s has just been... Every time I see Zephyrus into this board state, I think there's nothing good.
Probably offers a
explosive
shot.
Yeah, that's usually the best thing I can think of, but it's not that good, honestly. He could clear them off with the Desert Spear as well, but there's only a Zephyrus on board. I do not like that.
Nice Pressure Plate. Means that if trade into High Main comes down, the usual cleanup is a Starfall or a Swipe or a Loti Swipe, stuff like that, which means that it is likely that it snipes off a good minion.
That's it. Works out real nicely. Trade Loti Swipe is of course a way to clear things off completely, but he can be pretty sure, I think he can actually be 100% now that he's tested for Snipe, that it is a Pressure Plate in play now.
Time waits for no one.
Got away with it.
Play into Ratra. And okay.
Not bad. Not bad from Shaxy. Not bad.
Was this the wrong order? Was there any way you could have guaranteed that Loti was the minion that survived? No. What he could have done is he could have gone for Swipe before he played Loti, which left a 2-1 on the board, and then have the 5/5 be killed off, which of course then meant that Loti would 100% survive, but there's a 2-1, which is I wouldn't have minded either.
Wait, 2-1 on the board
versus
but wouldn't the High Main?
Well, he can still rush it 1 into the High Main, right? Like, how did he kill off the High Main?
No, because Freezing Trap. Freezing Trap and Pressure Plate killed the 2 5/5s that turn.
Okay.
So there'd be the Hyenas left, right? If he swiped first.
Well, no, I'm saying he still whatever he did to kill off the Hyena on the High Main on that turn, which was what?
Wrath, but with the spell damage from Loti, right? So that's what pushed him over the edge, right? I was thinking whether he could actually just Wrath him first and just leave 2/2/2s on the board. But I think in the outcome of what happened there, realistically, Shaxy actually made the best turn.
Sure. Yeah. It's all small stuff anyway, as Shaxy is moving ahead in dominating fashion now, getting miles ahead on the board and setting up for some very strong plays. He just needs to find the big boys now. Feoris, Cenarius.
Yeah.
Time waits for no one.
Activated
I believe
Zephyrus.
in his deck. Oh, sorry, he plays Elise as well.
Has he, did he? Is this the match where he played Zephyrus on 2? Or was that earlier on?
No, it's this one.
It was this
Druid
yeah.
versus Hunter.
Yeah.
Because the 3/3s, remember?
Yes, correct. So Zephyrus, obviously.
Nope.
Behold,
Other good stuff to be had.
Big turn.
Even at least
I'm not sure about
pretty
that.
huge.
I'm not sure about that flip. I think that was not necessary.
Overkill with potential Zephyrus. Yeah, you're probably right.
I just don't
actually.
think it was necessary.
He's so far ahead on board
Look at
anyway.
his board. It has
think
to be
you're right.
Zephyrus
Yeah.
or he wins. And I don't think a 3/4 changed that in any way.
And I think Zephyrus is demanded anyway.
The flame strike. Nice.
Huge.
Make it a trade, I think.
Which means it's just... Yeah, this is just better than Shadow.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, sorry, he would have had more mana with Shadow Flame, but I think it vastly outweighs the downside. That face attack makes things much more interesting, because now Shaxy has the plays of, like, heal the Hidden Oasis on the 5/1 and then value trade. Or to start pushing face and Hidden Oasis's face.
And if he'd kept the flute, then he could have played a taunt as well, which would have been pretty nice.
Sounds alright to me.
I just think that flute was way too much.
I fully agree. I think already the only way that Flurry had back into the game was
Zephyrus.
So why overextend?
Such a good minion.
That's it.
But look at this Zilliax. I think he should kill the Snips now.
Time waits for no one.
Easy for me to say because the Zilliax. Although, hang on. He'll know the Zilliax in hand, right?
Yes.
If his
he
deck
will.
changes.
He will.
Is Zilliax the only real way you lose this game? It's my thoughts. If he just trades,
it does get messy.
Just trades and like
Yeah.
starfalls it
Yeah,
off,
yeah,
or,
yeah.
you know, then. Whereas this is a 9 heal, 11 health Zilliax.
There are still ways he loses, like if he can't answer Bran or if there's a big Zul'jin that comes down.
I think a lot of this does come down to that floop, you know. It either would have been a taunt the previous turn, sorry, could have been a taunt this turn with Hidden Oasis, which is pretty good.
Or another
it could have
Oasis.
now been another Oasis Surger, which actually has more health than the original. So
That's it.
I didn't like that.
Precision.
What a swing back for Flurry.
Insane.
And he's made this out of tools that in this matchup are usually very lackluster.
Quickly.
Face.
Every time.
What do you get punished by? Nothing. Face. Yes. Correct.
Good lad.
He was up to 20 health now.
He's learning how to play Hunter. Well, I mean, I say learning. He knows, but he's just doing it correctly.
Really good backpedal there, Derek.
Flurry's a massive noob. Sorry, that's what I meant to say.
Ugh, this turn's unfun, isn't it?
Swippity swipe face.
Oh, it's so annoying though, isn't it?
Yeah, because Starfall, of course, does not wait for the death rattle to go off. So,
So, wait,
Yes.
he could hit, Starfall, right? That clears. I said hit, not.
you can even go Starfall swipe, I guess, in that instance. Oh, it's just terrible! It's just terrible. And as you pointed out, this was not a maybe he has Zilliax.
I think this is guaranteed because of the Ursatron
That's
Druid.
right.
And then Snips that was played, which was not the Ursatron card.
It was Zilliax that was drawn off the It was 100%. I remember.
Yeah,
I remember.
had to be.
Yeah.
There's only those 2 in the deck, right?
Well, yeah, because the snip snap was in the pack.
Yes, exactly. Yes, so you can see which card it was. And there is Siobran.
So much damage coming through.
So much health coming the other way as well.
Yeah. This was disastrous from Shaxy. And to be fair, clearing off the snip snap was very expensive in terms of resources. But if this is the 100% guaranteed alternative, it's got to be worth it.
The issue for me is that 9 lifesteal is not going anywhere anytime soon, and any minion he plays, he can just chunk through. So is it worth it to just kill it off?
I mean, now it might, given that he's got double Starfall with a bunch of minions on board. But the question then, of course, is is it all a little bit too late, considering he's probably taking 9 on this turn, or 8?
Yeah, I think he should take that.
Starfall, trade, Starfall, clears the board. Can you ever get away with just 1 Starfall?
If he Starfalls his Flurries, sucks.
What about double trade, Starfall, Crystal Merchant? Leaves 1 Starfall for Feoris. There's still a lease in the deck, which you would draw closer to by playing Crystal Merchant.
You can't double trade first, right? Because the snip snap doesn't die.
Oh yeah, it wouldn't actually even die.
Yeah. Wow. He's just dead to dudes.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
I mean, this is a turn that Shaxy has to make to stay in the game, but is this just trying to put a plaster on a, I don't know, a really big wound? Because, 1, awful saying.
Yeah,
2,
why don't you just say it?
not
Just say it, Raven. It's weirder when you don't. Flurry still hesitant to even play the Zul'jin. He hasn't played Unleash the Beast. So do you like just fitting in the hero powers?
Well, I don't think the secrets... If anything, the secrets buff Shaxy because he can replay the Rush, the Oasis Surgeon to a certain extent.
I think it's fair to call them not as good as 7/7 on the board. I wouldn't say they're good.
No, but I mean, the idea is the secrets do things that don't directly win Flurry the game.
Yeah.
So does he have to do them?
Exactly.
Whereas having 4 minions on the board help.
Hidden Oasis is the card that Shaxy, of course, needed on this turn. But again, it just makes his King Feoris worse and worse and worse. Does he die to fatigue if he plays Merchant? Like the last 2 cards in his deck, or last 3 cards, sorry, are Elise.
Nourish.
Yes, probably Nourish actually, yeah, and Cenarius.
So he actually has an end game in his deck, which is very funny. But yeah, you can always you can play the
Snipe.
Snipe.
Yeah, he knows that.
Good play.
Yeah, I'm happy with
So
that.
he's just gonna Elise like the Egyptian god cards of the deck.
Literally.
Kill Commando. He's going to be able to put through this before you make a joke. But push through this taunt pretty easily with just the dog. Trade off a 2 into the 5/1. Push 2 more hero power. Is that enough?
Is this going to be the worst King Feoris in history?
No, because you'll draw Nourish. 10 mana, 5/5, and a 6.
Oh
draw.
yeah, the Nourish saves it. I was thinking it'd be like double Wisp. Which would be hilarious.
Dr. Feoris is like, say hello to my wisps.
Say hello to my very, very, very little friends.
If you times these by 20 million, they'd still be bad.
How big are Wisps in World of Warcraft? Are they like head-sized because they look like heads? Or are
No,
they
they're like
smaller than that?
torso-sized.
Oh, so they're a bit bigger than a head.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, they're not that
In
small.
Warcraft 3, they actually are your workers. They farm lumber.
Oh, that's cool.
In a weird way, though. They do it in the way you'd expect
What, with
elves
their teeth?
slash no. So other races chop trees down
Right.
and farm, get lumber how you would expect, or how humans do. Wisps, because they love nature, just circle around the tree and you get wood.
Brilliant.
Forever. They don't even use up the resource. They just circle.
Didn't really need that much information there, Raven, but thanks anyway.
You always tell me you come from a hippie background. I thought you'd appreciate the lore of a wisp idea.
Right, Zul'jin doing work here, of course, for Flurry, trying to wrestle this game back at the last minute.
Actually.
Oh, I forgot about the Crimson Claw, that's huge. Board cleared off, Shaxy left with a Nourish, an Elise, and a King Feoris. I don't think that wins.
I actually completely forgot about the Flame Strike. That was sick.
That was sick. Yeah, there we go.
Ah, the Egyptian God card, but it's missing his left leg. It doesn't work. Shaxy takes the loss versus Flurry 2-1. Flurry going up to a 6-6 score now, which means again he's just looking okay. It's weird. I feel like everyone's at 6-6 in Grandmasters.
Speaking of missing a leg, it really felt like Shaxy shot himself in the foot on that game. Like coming down to the end there, where I don't know what went wrong for him in that mid game. It felt like there was so many situations where he had the necessary resources, but he made it stack up so inefficiently against what Flurry was playing down. The snip-snap play, of course, being the most egregious and outstanding of the plays. But I felt like along the way there, it just felt like some of the weirdest play from Shaxy we've had so far.
I honestly think, just for me, the one standout, there was some unfortunate, the time he had Feoris that was playable, there was 2 Starfalls that he had to play or he'd lose the game, which is obviously annoying. But, and some of his power cards being at the bottom of the deck. But for me, there was no reason to play Floop whatsoever on that turn because there was, 2 Oasis Surger sets on the board, plus a normal Anubisath Defender. I think 2 Anubisath Defenders.
Yeah, there were 2 already.
And then a Floop. It's like, Floop at worst is an Anubisath the turn after, if you have a spell to play, of course. Or it's just an Oasis Surger that he actually had in hand as well, because obviously he had 1 bounced. So if you play 4 Oasis Surgers in any game of Hearthstone, you're probably winning because the card's just that good, and the Floop version's even buffed. Or he might not have needed it and hold on to it, and suddenly if you have Elise and Floop, that's insane. It's Scenarios Floop, insane. Feoris Floop, insane if you can play it. I feel like was dropping it for a 3-4 on a board that was like Omega Death anyway. Was
really
just
poor.
Just needless. Like if you win, you win anyway. And if they had the Zephrys, then you're gonna take the loss.
I say it was almost like worse than needless because it was just throwing away one of his biggest win conditions.
It's just a good card, yeah. And he was in the position to make it work as well, which was very surprising to me. And we do have a next matchup though.